Hello, and welcome to the Practice Operations game. I hesitate to call this a game because it truly simulates operations management in a clothing manufacturing setting. Let's start by viewing the objectives. These are the learning objectives for this simulation. Basically, through this exercise, you should understand what a manufacturing process is and how it's organized, understand the importance of process thinking, and apply the conversion process of operations management in a simple manufacturing scenario. This also illustrates an example of a process dominant layout and gives you an opportunity to examine the advantages and disadvantages of this kind of layout. Once you've successfully completed this exercise, you should understand concepts of setup time, utilization time, production scheduling, and bottlenecks in a simple manufacturing process, and be able to discuss the role and practice of an operations manager in a simple manufacturing scenario. Let's get started. First things first, you will need to read each prompt thoroughly. To begin, the game walks you through a demonstration of the navigation. Once the demonstration is completed, you'll be expected to navigate on your own, so take note of the navigation steps as we complete the demonstration. This module focuses on the production process and what you need to know to set up and monitor production runs for client contracts. This is an important note that all too often students seem to miss. In this game, each turn simulates 1 week on the production floor. The goal for this assignment is to successfully complete 5 contracts in 12 weeks. Now we'll review how to set a production run, move products through the production floor, and ship to clients. Each module builds upon the previous one, so mastering the first module, including the navigation, is critical to your success. Here's our first contract from Stallion Apparel. Click here to view the contract. You can see in the right top corner of the contract that it's due in 4 weeks. On the left side of the contract, under order details, you'll see the contract is for a total of 800 white socks. The client is looking for medium quality, 50, which is displayed to the right of the quantity. Ensuring the right quality specifications will come up in later modules. The base material for white socks is cotton. Each unit of white socks requires 1 unit of cotton. The section below order details is production details. There you can see how much cotton we have in stock, which is 5,000 units of stock quality 50. To the right of the stock quality, you'll see the production tasks required to make white socks, which include cutting, sewing, and packing. These production steps correlate to the machines located on the production floor. The final section is the fulfillment status of the order. You can see we currently don't have any finished goods or socks in stock. There are no units in transit to the client, and the client has not received any part of this contract. So let's get the production underway. To set up a production run for this contract, click the manager's desk. Remember, after the demo, this is where you'll go to set up your production runs for future contracts. Here you can see no products are in production. To start a production run, you click the item you need produced. In this case, it's white socks. Then you'll use the slide to set the quantity you want produced, which for this contract is 800. Let's get to 800. There we go. If you forget the quantity, you have the current contract shown at the bottom of the screen. Since we only have one contract, we'll set the priority, which is the order in which it should be produced, to 1. So it's already there. Once you've selected the correct amount, click Confirm. Now that you've set up your production, you can click View Production Plan to see what you have set for the week. Here's your production plan for the week. You can see you have 2,400 minutes of available operations time on each machine in a given week. And white socks are the only production run for the week. Just like in real life, each production station requires setup time to prepare for a new production run. Station setup time is marked in red on the schedule. There and right there. The socks will first be cut, then moved to the sewing station. You can see the small numbers show how much will be done. So 800 socks will be cut. See that there? And 397 socks will be sewn within the time available in the first week. Clearly, you won't be able to finish all 800 socks this week, so the rest of the work will continue into the next week. After cutting and sewing, the socks will have to be packed. However, since all the socks will not be sewn, no packing will occur in this week. Everything has been set for this week's production, so we will check back on this next week. Once you've done everything you need to do in a given week, you end the turn, which moves you into the next week. Each time you end a turn, you receive an end of turn summary report where you can review all the key moves you made each week before ending your turn. This week, we've only set the one production run as shown. There. In later modules, we'll address human resources, bidding and contracts, and receiving. You'll focus on production and shipping only in Module 1. Let's click End Turn to confirm you're ready to move into the next week. Now we're in week 2. You can see here that we're in turn 2 of 12 and week 2. Let's take a look at the cutter. This shows the station summary. You can click the right arrow to select to view the next production station. As predicted in the production plan, they sewed 397 socks last week. And then you can click this week tab to see this week's production schedule for the sewing station. This week we'll sew the rest of those sock parts. You can see here that the expectation is that we'll be able to sew 403 socks this week. Click the right arrow to select to move to the next production station. Last week the packing station was not in use. You can click this week's tab to see this week's production schedule. You can see this week we'll be able to pack 527 socks, which will then be transferred to the shipping department for delivery to our clients. Another way to view past production history is to click the production button at the bottom of the screen. Here you can view past production by production run, or the product, in this case white socks, or the production station like cutter, sewing, or packing. Since there's no new contract and our existing contract is underway and not yet completed, there's nothing else to do this week. You may click End Turn to advance to the next week. Now, let's see if you know where everything is. All right, we have a new contract. Let's take a look at it. Remember, current contracts are at the bottom of the page. Now, in how many weeks is the contract due? You see here? It was 8. And then how many units of this product is the client looking for? They're looking for 1,200. So we'll put that. Got that correct? Now, what is the base material for this product? You see under production details, cotton. Correct? And then how many units of cotton are required to make a unit of this product? And you'll see right here under materials required that it says 2 cotton. So it needs 2 units of cotton to make 1 unit of product. How many production tasks are involved in making this product? Again, you can see the production details. You can see that there are 4. You'll notice one of those tasks involves a machine that we don't have. So luckily management has approved the purchase of that new machine. So let's click the needed icon for the pressing machine to continue. Let's review the pressing machine details. You can see how long the operation takes, the cost of the operation, and the cost of the machine, as well as the products that require the use of the pressing machine. Now we're just going to click confirm to purchase the machinery. The machine will not be available for use until next week. In the meantime, we can begin production of the products. To set up your production run, visit the manager's desk. Now let's select the item we want to produce. In this case, it is t-shirt. And the quantity. Remember, you can see the current contract at the bottom of the screen. So we need 1,200. Oop, that's it. Okay, and we'll leave the priority at 2 because we want our socks done first, as they're due out first. The socks are due in 2 weeks, while these shirts are due in 8 weeks. All right, the light is red under the t-shirts to indicate we're missing something in the production process. In this case, it's the pressing machine. So when it arrives next week, the light will be green. You can view the production plan to see how things look with 2 production runs going by clicking there. So we'll be finishing the socks for Stallion Apparel this week while beginning the cutting for the plain t-shirts for Taffy. Since it's a large order, it will take weeks to complete. Now, let's move into next week. Click Intern. Review the intern summary to ensure everything is as you intended and confirm ending your term. Everything looks right. The pressing machine arrived. Let's take a look at the new machine. Now we have everything needed to complete the plain t-shirt order. Also, we finished the socks order, so let's head to shipping. Click the shipping desk to initiate shipping. So we see that we have completed 800 of the 800 required white socks. Here are the shipping service rates based on shipment weight and delivery time. Distance is not a factor since our clients are all located in the same region. Since our contract is due in 1 week, we'll need expedited shipping to ensure our order arrives to the customer on time. Click Send Shipment to set up our shipment. Here you can choose the size of your shipment and when it will arrive to the customer. Remember to update your shipping time to 1 week for expedited shipping. And then we'll confirm. That horn signals the shipment leaving our warehouse. Now that we've shipped everything and set up our production runs, let's end this turn. There's nothing else to be done this week. All right, we have a new contract. Let's check it out. This is a rush job for 200 ties due in just 2 weeks. Let's set up their production. We'll start by clicking the production desk. So we need to select ties, which are the items to be produced. And then select the desired quantity, which is 200. If you forgot, again, you can look at the bottom of where it says current contract to see that very quickly. And they're due in just 2 weeks, so they'll have to be moved into first priority. All right, you can see the ties have now moved into top priority, so they'll begin production immediately. Again, we have no finished products to ship out and everything is in production, so let's end the turn. All right, our first contract reached the customer. They were moderately satisfied and our reputation score improved. Yes. Whenever you complete a contract, you receive a completion report that provides client feedback, which should inform you how you produce and ship items, that you're manufacturing. Now we'll work on our own. The demo portion has ended, so you'll navigate independently from here on out. Remember, to finish Module 1, you'll need to complete 4 more contracts within 12 weeks. But remember, there are only 6 weeks remaining. All right, it looks like we have 2 new contracts that need to be set up for production, so let's visit the production desk. First, we'll set up the pants or slacks. You'll see 200 are required, and since they're due in 3 weeks, they should be prioritized over the shirts, which are due in 5 weeks. Let's get to 200. And the first priority. All right, next we'll set up the shorts. So 400 are required and they're due at the same time as the plain t-shirt, so we'll leave them in the third priority position. This one, 400. So bad at the slider. Okay. Now that we've set up all our production runs, let's check and see if we have anything available to ship. All right, so first we have 383 finished goods of the 1,200 required. So those aren't ready to go, which is okay because they're due in 5 weeks. You can click the right arrow to see the next order status. Our ties are done, so let's get them out. These are due in 1 week, so they have to be expedited. So let's change the shipping time. Let's see what else we have. Okay, we don't have any slacks done, so there's nothing else to ship. We've done everything we can this week, so let's end this turn. No new contracts and everything is in production, so let's check and see what's ready to ship. All right, our t-shirts are still not done, so let's click the right arrow. All right, our ties are in transit, so let's see the next order. Our slacks are finished, so let's set up that shipment. Standard shipping is fine since the order is not due for 2 weeks, so let's confirm our shipment. Now let's look at the next order. These boxer shorts aren't done yet, so we're back at the start with t-shirts. So everything is under production or shipped that can be. So let's close this out and end the turn. We completed another contract on time. Again, all our contracts are in production, so let's see if we have anything available to ship. Okay, t-shirts are still not ready. Slacks are in transit. See that there? Our boxers are finished and they're due out in 3 weeks, so standard shipping will work. Let's initiate that shipment. All right, we've just reviewed the status of our remaining 3 orders, so let's close out and end this turn. Everything looks good, so let's confirm ending the turn. Look at that, it's quiet. We've produced all our orders, so let's see what needs to be shipped. All right, we are right on schedule with 2 weeks remaining, so let's ship this out. All right, everything is correct, so let's confirm our shipment. And everything is done, so let's close the panel. and end the turn. All right, we completed our Slacks contract on time. Yes. And our reputation increased, which will make us more attractive to other clients. Excelente. There's nothing left to produce or ship, so we're just waiting for time to pass for the orders to make it to the customer. So let's end the turn. Okay, so we did really well on this order. They're extremely satisfied. That's excellent. Let's go ahead and end this turn again because we're just waiting on those plain t-shirts to make it to the customer. All right, we did it. So we completed all 5 contracts on time within 12 weeks. Now that you have the navigation down, each module will build on this. You'll want to review the Student Practice Operations Manual for more information for the following modules. You can click Export on the right top hand side to download it. Best of luck.